Hello, my name's Jim Stime, and I'm the LA Fish Guy. I'd like to invite you to tag along as I show you how the aquarium industry works from the inside. I'd like to show you freshwater, saltwater, coral reef, as well as koi ponds. It may not always be pretty, and it may not always be paradise, but it is Los Angeles, the city of angels. Welcome to LA Fish Guys. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Cabinet builders are not aquarium people, and no matter how much information you give them, they'll usually misunderstand it and overbuild it. And that's okay, sort of. Sometimes it's the simplest version that is the most unique way to package things, such as aquatic plants or betta fish. But on the other hand, big usually means requiring a more complex system of pipes and valves. Join us as today's adventure involves the installation of a 150-gallon tank, the completion of Dan's 1,200-gallon tank. It also involves rainbows and goldfish, as well as a saw that doesn't cut, but does. North of downtown Los Angeles, in what's called the San Fernando Valley, is the city of Sherman Oaks. I received a referral, and my friend Condi is going to help me install a standard 150-gallon acrylic tank and wet-dry trickle filter into a custom aquarium cabinet. I faxed previously drawings of what I need for the aquarium and what I had suggested the cabinet maker build to accommodate the aquarium. So we've made it out to the location where we're going to be installing that 150-gallon aquarium. This being the stand, the bookcase, and the foundations over there. This being a canopy that'll go over the top of it. This portion will be mounted actually against the wall. Our first challenge is they've built a very strong and capable cabinet, but they've got solid supports through the center, and we're going to have to cut those out. Fortunately, we don't have to cut the back of the stand out because the end of the stand is open, so we can slide the filter straight in this way. It should be a fairly simple installation. We just need to wait till they get the stuff attached to the wall. Truth is, this is not a standard tank. While its dimensions are standard, this tank has a bent or large radius left front corner. This in itself can be challenging, but the first step is to create the cutouts to accommodate the electrical through the back of the stand and the drain from the top of the stand, and then onto the support ribs inside the stand.
We're basically cutting the same size for you over there. I just need this, correct? We're gonna go put it and then see where the tank goes, and we're gonna have to cut the top and the panels.
So that the cabinet guys can get a better understanding, they've asked me if I can place the tank on top of the stand temporarily.
This is the one that goes, slides in. Cool. That's what I was talking about.
Once completed, there will also be what I'll call a canopy or an upper cabinet on top of the tank. This also involves a face frame, which will border the space between the top of the tank and the upper cabinet.
I think you want to bring it up right to the face. Yeah, it's right to the face. Right here. And push it back.
This certainly is a concern of mine, to make sure that it also covers that gap between the water level and the inside top of the tank.
Perfect radius. But so Eric, where I'm going to take them off and then see where this big black thing is. Basically, you got to cut that so he can bolt his plumbing right here and go this way.
So it actually has a hole in the bottom of the tank.
Yeah, that's how the water will exit the tank. This box here is called an overflow or an internal overflow.
It'll force the water to rise to the top of the box, spill in the box. Everything then exits the bottom of the box. So there's two lines. One is an exit and one's a return. And so the exit comes down into the top of the filter, does its thing. There's a water pump here that'll pick it up, send it back to another fitting here that brings the return line. And there's a hole right on the side of the overflow where there's a little nozzle, and then it shoots it out and around it goes.
Cool. All right, so I'll show you something, Jim. That way you can take a look.
And here goes my second concern.
Frame. Well, you just gotta put in there for now. This is how it's gonna hide all your.
Yeah, the gravel line and all that, that'll look real nice.
It'll sit everything.
And how far down does this come?
Not far enough.
I was just gonna say.
Why wouldn't it be fine?
Well,
You got
because you're looking at an angle wise.
well,
No,
okay.
you got water.
The water level at the, will probably be about a ½ inch below the inside top.
Mhm.
And we prefer that this come down and
Yeah,
overlap that.
it won't because it's already made for that. Because we gave a good inch, ½ inch above. I see what you're saying, the water's right.
Because you're gonna see not only the water level, but you're also gonna see all the light escaping between those two, and of course that's where your eye goes right away.
And I know my drawings clearly showed the need to overlap the top of the tank by 2 inches.
Okay.
You can't remodify it, cut it?
No,
No?
Yeah, it's all
all done, it's done there. Well, maybe we did.
But I'm saying that can't you redo it and bring that piece last at the end, you know? To where it just, you know?
That piece does detach, yes?
Not that.
that does come off, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If it's,
Well, you can see what it looks like at the end.
Yeah.
If it doesn't hide the water
well,
level,
it's not gonna hide the water.
it just looks like a
Well, you want it to
typical
you
pet
want it to
store
look like a,
installation.
like,
Yeah, I understand.
like you're looking at like a painting, you know? You know, you don't wanna look
Well,
at
let's-
painting and
And the edge of
the guy
poster
didn't
roof.
finish painting the top
Sure,
surface,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
incomplete, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same as gonna make you guys look good, you know?
Or bad.
You know, so I'd be like, well, cabinet guy, you know, like, that,
You know what?
you know? Yeah, 'cause that's how they
We'll
did
have
it.
to top off of that acrylic.
Get a saw and just cut the tank shorter.
Okay.
Actually, I've got a roll of electrician's tape we can stick on
Yeah, I
there.
do.
I had a customer do that once before. People just don't understand the need to overlap.
Right. Well, we did overlap. We overlapped it by this much to hide all this.
Yeah.
The water.
Just south of downtown LA, in the industrial section of Gardena, is Coast Tropical. In addition to importing and wholesaling fresh and saltwater fish and corals, Coast also offers aquatic plants with a unique packaging process.
Is that better? Okay. Hi, I'm Mike Scott from Coast Tropicals. I'm going to show you today what else. We also produce a full line of aquatic plants for you. We grow a lot of our own plants overseas at our farms in Thailand. This is how they come in to us in bags, and we then go ahead and put them into different formations of plants. We have plants on a ring, we do plants in a tube, we build them here for whatever you would like.
And so there's multiple plants inside here kind of compacted, and then what you do is open them up.
Right. We open them up and we'll put them either in a tube formation similar to this, like the Westphalia here. Put them in a tube formation. It's like a little internal greenhouse that we've developed and created.
Now you mentioned a moment ago that there was a patent on that design.
Right.
And the idea is it's not just a tube with a plug and a cap, but it...
Right. Our family owns 3 different patents on this particular product. Yeah, we created basically its own little internal greenhouse. We've developed a food for the plants to live this way. We've been able to grow plants up to even 2 years in this tube.
Wow.
So your customer can actually put it up on the shelf and
It'll
set it on the
survive.
shelf, and it'll survive. We actually have 16 different types of true aquatic plants that we have growing in the tube as well as numerous amounts of bog plants.
So these plants don't have to be put into an aquarium as far as the store is concerned. They could be put on a shelf.
Exactly. Just eliminating the whole in your store plant tank. They can actually sell them right off the shelf. These plants here are already packaged, ready to go. They're getting ready to go to customers and to some happy aquarium owners to put in their planted tanks.
And they're already producing their own little environment inside there.
Right. They're already creating their own little condensation and creating their own water. It's like making their own little greenhouse and just regular lighting. You know, they don't need a whole lot of care or a whole lot of special types of lighting. It's just a real simple concept. So it's really good for the store to be able to put right on their shelf and sell it.
Certainly a lot more economical, a
Economical
lot cleaner.
Correct.
You don't have to maintain a tank. You maintain the dust on a shelf.
Exactly. Just dust them off and let them, you know, just as long as they're in just regular light, they'll do great. So.
Wow.
This year we currently offer 3 different size tubes for the stores, so small, medium, and a large. We have, you know, basically every type of plant that we're able to put in the tube, we can offer the 3 different sizes for you to put on your shelf and to offer to your customers. It's a real simple concept to take them out of there and put them in the tank. It's a real easy thing.
Is there any acclimation that needs to be involved with plants?
No, these plants are ready to go. You can just put them right in your tank and let them grow. Typically, they do really well. We don't really have so much acclimation with the plants. You know, as long as they're staying wet, and all they're.
The grow media, is there any reason to consider introducing that into the aquarium, or would you?
It's a good idea to do any kind of fertilizers, you know, in your tank. You know, the substrates, you know, pretty important as well. If you're doing a full planted tank, you know, you want to make sure you have a planted substrate instead of just like a regular aquarium gravel. There's a lot of different additives. A lot of different companies are producing really good additives for fertilizer and food for your plants. Fish waste is really good. You know, just the fish, having the fish in your tank and having them waste is really good. You know, fertilizer for the plants as well keeps them going.
Very cool.
Back up in the San Fernando Valley, over in Studio City, or the 818 area code, is Mark's Tropical Fish. Mark's a rock and roller from the psychedelic 60s and now owns the coolest fish shop in the Hollywood Hills. Today's conversation involves rainbows. Aquatic rainbows, that is.
Here we have the rainbow fish. I think highlighted in this aquarium right now, you can see several of the turquoise rainbows. Very popular because of their turquoise color, and very popular because of their turquoise color. And the New Guinea red rainbows right there. Now these fish are relatively large specimens. I get them in a medium size also. These are grown out a little bit to show people what this fish can actually look like. Now they originate from the New Guinea part of the world, so on our map that would be slightly above Australia, a series of islands. And so a lot of these are raised now in captivity, so the price has come down due to the fact that they are raised in captivity, which makes it a lot more accessible to the hobbyist, so you don't have to spend a fortune on when you want to start up a rainbow tank. Now these are very peaceful fish. There's some wild caught from Borneo. These roseline sharks, these are relatively young fish. These can grow up to 5 to 6 inches. They have a beautiful red coloration on them with the little spots on the tail. This in the last few years has become an extremely popular fish due to their color, their peacefulness, and their schooling ability. So they will mix with the rainbow fish. So if you want to start up a rainbow tank, talk to us. They love live plants, easy to take care of because of the fact that they don't require any special water conditions. They'll live in our local tap water pH of around 7.7, 7.8, 7.9 without any problem. That's maybe something else that we can talk about in a little bit, is about pH. People are always talking about pH, and I think they're putting the emphasis, someone has put it into their mind that how pH can actually end up killing your fish, a low pH or high pH. Most fish are very, very adaptable as long as you acclimate them to that particular pH of the water. Some people say, what is pH? Well, without getting too technical, every every type of water that we use, whether it be drinking water or tap water or water from a natural stream, comes out of nature with a particular pH. And these fish normally can adapt to any pH between, let's say, 6.8 all the way up to 8. 8.0 that is. So when you're buying a new fish, the best thing to do after you float your fish in the aquarium to acclimate it so that your sealed bag with the oxygen in it that's floating in the aquarium, you open the rubber band up and you take a scoop of water out of your aquarium and you add it to the shipping bag until you reach at least a 50% amount, plus or minus, and then you let the fish 15, 20, 30 minutes acclimate, no longer than that, because the fish will run out of oxygen once you open that bag up. So the key thing is, give them a 50-50 mixture. That way, when you're ready to release the fish into your aquarium, the fish is already acclimated to your pH, and that makes it a lot less stressful. The fish doesn't sink to the bottom and act like it's going to die. So we get calls all the time from our customers saying, oh, I put my fish in there and it died. The next day, and I said, well, that's interesting because the fish has been in the store for 2 months. How did you take it home in one night and have it die on you? And it turns out they bring us a sample of their water. We give them a free pH test on it, and we find out that their pH is 6.0. Well, that's not acceptable to keep freshwater fish in. And the tap water out of our tap here in the San Fernando Valley in the Los Angeles area usually runs in the high 7s. So what we try to do is get people to at least run their aquarium in the 7s pH-wise. That way, when they buy a fish from a local store that takes care of their aquariums and is doing the proper water changes, which is required to keep these fish in their zone of friendly pH conditions, you won't have a reaction like the customer did that bought a fish that never does water changes at home and just tops off when it evaporates, which is not the proper way to take care of aquarium. We should always change at least, on an average, between every 2 and 4 weeks, anywhere from 25 to 40% of the water, depending on the population of that aquarium, and never to exceed 50% water change at any given time of the same temperature, dechlorinated tap water going back into your aquarium.
Down along the Santa Monica Bay coastline near the Hermosa Beach Pier, Dan Gilboa of Age of Aquariums and his crew are starting day 2 of installing a 20-foot long, 1,200-gallon aquarium system. Previously, it required a forklift and a hydraulic stacker to position this large aquarium inside.
Welcome back to LA Fishguys. As you can see, I've grown a few feet since our last episode. We're here again continuing with the installation of our 20-foot, 16,000-pound, 1,250-gallon aquarium here in Hermosa Beach. I have a whole crew here of people doing various things. I've got Martine actually inside the aquarium. Martine's the one who fabricated the coral reef structure and is just doing some final touch-ups of that. We have Jason on the far end who's hooking up some return pipes going through the wall into the filtration room. And we have Sean gluing up some pipes behind us for the closed loop and open loop system.
The bulk of today's work is plumbing, and Sean is the master pipe assembler.
So tell us why you prefer the purple and then the blue stuff as opposed to just the nice, clean, clear stuff.
Okay, so the reason I do the purple primer is so that I know that it's actually been added to that particular fitting. So if it wasn't there and I missed it, especially in a large complex project, you can cause some serious problems, get leakage, and then you have to tear out a whole section. So like something like this looks completely ugly. It really does. But I know that every single fitting has been primered and glued. Now typically I prefer doing Schedule 80 pipe, which is gray. So the actual gray glue blends in very well to it. And it's the 717 heavy body. And it works really well, and it holds, well, it pretty much glues it together. But with the white pipe, you see it. However, we're lucky in that another company is going to put cabinetry, and all of this is going to be hidden. So these nasty parts, no one will ever see except for me, which is good. So I know that it's done, I know it's done right, and I know that no one will ever have to see it.
And what counts is what makes you feel most comfortable.
Well, no, what counts is making sure that the whole thing doesn't burst open, spray water everywhere. So how I feel about it doesn't really matter, just as long as it works.
Does your aquarium look like this? Would you like it to grow less algae? Algae scrubbers work! And for the latest in convenience, simplicity, and low cost, meet the Hog Upflow Algae Scrubber. Air pump driven and LED light illuminated, the Hog fits easily into your sump or aquarium. For more information, visit santa-monica.cc. Next time you're near Long Beach, California, take the time to stop in at Age of Aquariums, 2642 Cherry Avenue, just off the 405 freeway near Signal Hill. Age of Aquariums carries a full line of dry goods, supplements, and exotic equipment. Age of Aquariums also carries a wide assortment of living corals, coral frags, as well as fresh and saltwater fish, ranging from the usual, the unusual, and the bizarre. Age of Aquariums is located at 2642 Cherry Avenue, Long Beach, California, near Signal Hill. Open 7 days a week. Call 562-438-6252 or visit ageofaquariums.biz.
Hi, I'm Mark from Mark's Tropical Fish here in Studio City, California. Here at Mark's Tropical Fish, we specialize in all aspects of the hobby. Whether you have a coral reef, a saltwater aquarium, freshwater aquarium, or a koi pond, we can help you in all those areas, including servicing for home and office. Here we are in front of my location at 12063 Ventura Place in Studio City, right near the intersection of Ventura Boulevard and Laurel Canyon. We're located right off the 101 freeway at the Laurel Canyon exit, in close accessibility to all the cities in the valley and the LA basin. We're open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. till 7, Saturday 11 a.m. till 6, and Sunday 11 a.m. till 5. We also have rear parking in case the metered parking is taken up on the street. Hope to see you soon.
Up in the valley in Sherman Oaks, just down the street from the totally awesome Galleria, Condi and I are installing a 150-gallon aquarium system. The custom cabinet was slightly overbuilt and now requires some modification on the part of the cabinet maker. There's multiple vertical solid supports that need to be cut out to accommodate the wet-dry trickle filter. It will require a router and a skillful set of hands.
That's a full submersible one?
Yeah.
How come you don't put it inside where the stem pipe's at, since the stem pipe sits up so high already to where it's, you know?
You have a good point, but it means I'd have to get the power up to that point, which means
Well, you got power coming up from the top where the lights are too.
you know, that going into the bookcase to the side and back over. I think at the moment my power circuit right here, and this just goes straight down into the sun. So what we're going to do is put the heater for the aquarium system inside the wet-dry trickle filter down here under the bio balls. It'll always be submersed, and at the same time, it's not visible in the tank. It's visible in the filter, but not in the tank.
And now that I've got the heater positioned horizontally in the bottom of the wet-dry trickle filter, the cabinet maker finishes cutting out the vertical supports. We'll place a flat 1x12 across those ribs, which will give me a solid and level platform to place the filter and the water pump assembly on. Back down south of LA in Gardena, or the 310 area code, is Coast Tropicals. Mike Scott is also packaging aquarium plant bulbs, fuzzy plant balls, and sprouts of bamboo.
These are onion bulbs right here.
Now, when you say only 3, there's only 3 in the world, or the only 3
Oh, no,
you're
no, three
in,
types
or?
that we're bringing in. No. The 3 main types.
These are the 3 right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's a lot of different bulbs. So,
Okay.
the 3 different types of bulbs that we mainly bring in is your lily bulb, is a Tropica lily bulb. Your Ponjanican bulbs are better known as the beta bulb. And then we also do the onion plant bulbs. These grow a really nice green plant, real pretty. Every single plant here is really a nice plant. What we also do for the aquarium trade is we also package a variety of different bulb plants in a little package like this, so you can hang it on your shelf. These bulb plants are really great. They'll just sit on your shelf, and they'll sit on your shelf for a long time. The customer just has to drop them in their tank. Once they get wet, they'll start producing, sprouting, and rooting, and becoming a full-grown plant. It's a really great sell for any aquarium, any freshwater aquarium. This is a real good thing. I don't know if you can get these or whatnot. These are real popular as well. These are Japanese moss balls. We produce thousands of these every week and sell them. These are a real great addition to any freshwater aquarium as well. It's actually a solid ball of algae. Solid plant.
And when it grows out, what does it look like?
Just grows just like this. It just continues to stay into a ball formation and just keeps growing.
Does the ball get bigger?
Yep, the ball will just get bigger and bigger.
You could at some point end up with your aquarium overwhelmed with fuzzy balls.
It would take a long time. These things grow really slow, but I'm sure you could. Yeah, we can talk about bamboo. We show them that, hey, they're potting the plants right now. They grow. I mean, you can film them potting the plants. So we also do a full line of potted plants as well. Right now they're packaging the bamboo. Here she's doing the, you can see this, here she's doing the nacris. She puts a name badge on it. We put the foam to make sure we don't break any of the roots.
And then you mentioned the rubber band versus the lead
Versus
weight.
the lead, yeah. We put rubber band instead of the lead just because people were getting afraid of the lead poisoning and so forth. It doesn't do anything. It's just
All it did in the past was just act as a weight.
acts as a weight, right. But since people are, afraid of the lead and so forth, when we went to the rubber band.
And that lead isn't beneficial as far as a fertilizer?
No, nothing. No benefits at all.
Back up in the 818 is Mark's Tropical Fish in Studio City. In addition to rainbows, Mark also offers pots of gold. Or is that tanks of goldfish?
Fancy goldfish are popular with people that want to bring color into their home or office, and with a little different approach. Here we have the large Ryukins, we have the Sarasa Comets, which are the red and white ones, and we have a black Moor here, which is the one with the telescope eyes and the nice long tail. Generally, these fish are relatively easy to take care of. They're available as babies, and these are probably what I would call more of a subadult or adult fish, which means that they probably have at least a year or 2 years of growth on them. Goldfish come in many different shapes, sizes, and color patterns, and that includes finnage also. There's Arandas, Ryukins, Lionheads, the fancy fantails, and we have the comets and shabunkins and other interesting goldfish, which also come in all sizes, from babies all the way up to adults. So depending on the size of your aquarium and how large of a statement or display that you want to make, we can steer you in the direction that way. We also take special orders on goldfish if you're looking for a particular fancy. Someone came in this morning and says, I'm looking for a Ranchu lionhead. Now these are a fish that they have actually bred the dorsal fin out of, off the top of. So they're more of an egg-shaped fish with a small tail and a very large head that is comprised of amino acids. Some people call it, wow, it looks like their brains are on the external part of their body, but it's actually bred that way on purpose. You've seen them. If you're familiar with the fancy goldfish, you know what I'm talking about. Some people really think they're attractive. So to each his own, and let's move on to some other fish.
Way down south in the Los Angeles harbor is the city of Long Beach and the home of Age of Aquariums. While Dan is building his big 1,200-gallon aquarium, JW is running the store and cutting little aquarium frags. He uses a type of bandsaw to precisely cut larger corals down to lesser expensive sizes. This is called fragging, and it helps make the coral reef hobby less reliant on wild collected specimens.
My name is JW Stewart. I work here at Age of Aquariums for Dan. I have the gift of being able to work on most of the corals. So right now I'm just getting ready to show you guys how we frag. I'm going to be doing zoas right now. I just did acans. So right now I'm just creating the drip loop, which I'm going to hang from the tank. And then I'm going to get a siphon going. For the saw. And then I plug this into the back, so what this does is lubricates the blade so it doesn't heat up the coral or the blade. And then I gotta tune the flow a little bit. Okay, so now we're good. And then I get the saw going. I like to let it run for a little bit just to make sure that any other juices from any other corals we're on there kind of get pushed through. It's not good to have, as long as you're doing the same species it's okay, but if you're going from Acropora to Zoanthid to acans, you got to make sure you kind of clean it. So the main thing with the Zoa is it's very toxic. Anybody that has got it in their eye knows. So goggles, usually gloves, are pretty important. I haven't had the problem with my hands, but I have got it in my eye before. So as you see on here, we can see all the individual polyps. And what I'm going to try to do is cut some off without really cutting into any of them. So I see a nice little chunk right here at the tip. Turn the saw speed up because we're actually going to go through some rock. And the saw won't cut you. It will burn you, but it will not cut you. Okay. So there we have it. There's one. So I don't know if you saw that spray my face, but that's why we wear the goggles. Okay, get a couple more. And that'll be it for that one. And we'll turn it down. Keep the water running so it keeps flushing some of the juices out. And then I'll pick up another one. So if you see this one, this is where it gets hard. So I don't want to cut into them, but I got to cut through them. So I kind of got to look in here and see my best path of attack. Okay, that looks good. So I'm just going to try to get 3 or 4 of them off of there. So again, turn it back up. So you see, sometimes you got to lose a couple to get a couple. See if I can get a couple more. Yeah, it looks like I can. So it's really all about letting the saw do the work. You don't want to push because you'll go through a lot of bandsaw blades. Some rock's more solid than others, so you go through a little more blades depending on what you're cutting. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do for that one. So you see this one's like impossible. They all kind of start right at the same spot. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to actually just cut it in half. I'm going to lose a good amount of polyps, but I got to frag it because the people are asking. So you see kind of the ones I'm cutting into. Uh-oh. But now that it's smaller, I actually got smaller pieces to work with. I can kind of get in there and get a couple more off of it. And there we go. Thank you for watching.
Do you have an aquarium question? Are you looking for aquatic answers? Just key in wetwebmedia.com. Wetweb Media has information on freshwater, marine, brackish, and planted aquariums. Wetweb Media is staffed by the capable Wetweb Media crew. Check today's facts, ask questions, or search keywords. That's wetwebmedia.com.
Hi there, my name's Jim Stime and you know me as the LA Fish Guy. Well, I also wear a couple of other hats. One of them is the jellyfish tank called the Jelly Aquarium, and the third is myfishtank.com. I offer an entire line of acrylic aquariums ranging from rectangular to hexagon, flatback hex, as well as the custom curve front aquariums. There's also an entire line of stands and canopies ranging from MDF to pine to oak with a variety of different finishes available. And the website is even smart enough that you can calculate what the freight and crate charges to your location will be. That's myfishtank.com.
Hi, my name's Dean from Tropical Imports here in Glendale, California. We have all different types of tropical fish, freshwater and saltwater. We have reptiles, freshwater plants, goldfish, saltwater invertebrates. We've got all different types of little aquariums here for betas, for tropical fish, mini, nano reef, for plants, saltwater fish. I've got all different types of bowls. Whatever you like, we've got it.
Reef Hobbyist magazine believes that our hobby, our fellow hobbyists, and the animals in our care are best served by the free distribution of quality information. Reef Hobbyist magazine provides hobbyists with critical husbandry information with an emphasis on marine ornamental breeding efforts. Reef Hobbyist magazine is available for free in local fish stores across the country, or you can subscribe at www.reefhobbyistmagazine.com. Looking out across the San Fernando Valley, Conby and I are just past the 405 freeway working in Sherman Oaks, and we're installing a custom aquarium and filter system.
So what are you doing? We're going to rinse the grout off. While they do that, you know, get everything prepped up so when we get ready to rock and roll, you know, we got everything going.
And ready we are. The cabinet maker has now routed out the inside of the stand, and ironically, it now looks like the bone structure or ribs on the inside of a fish. But with the use of a 1x12 platform, we can now place the wet-dry trickle filter inside and onto a flat, sturdy surface.
And so once, is this in position?
That's in position, but we're gonna attach this one to the wall.
Which one to the wall?
This one.
Okay, at what point can I set the tank up here?
You can set it any time.
Oh, okay. Now could be, okay.
Put it right on.
Why don't we put the
Why
top
don't we
on?
put- yeah.
Let's put the top on, and then I can deal with just making sure this is square.
Okay.
And
I have one little trick with getting the tank up there, and that is there are two bulkheads going through here. And so I'll have the tank kittywampus, I'll put the bulkheads in place, but I have to lift the tank up to get it to clear over the bulkheads and set it down in. So will that interfere?
After we get this in there, there's gonna be about a ½ inch.
I'll have to lift it up 3 inches.
3 inches. So,
You couldn't go underneath, set this on and then.
Well,
depends
yes
on
and
how
no, but you want to make sure that bulkhead is
understand.
tightened properly and, you know.
But, you know, this piece is pretty important because the walls aren't straight, you know.
Can we put the tank in there and then put that up there and
we could, you know what I can do is, we can get some screws in right here, like
Right.
this. So you could go ahead and put that tank in there first.
Okay.
And then we'll deal with this later.
Okay. Need to put the two bulkheads in place and we'll set it up there.
Got a knife?
Not on me. And it should come off.
Can I use my key?
Oh. Get your pocket knife out.
Sorry guys, but no pocket knives near the acrylic aquarium. And with that said, it's time to assemble the drain and return assemblies, both of which are inside the internal overflow. This tank will use what's called a Durzo standpipe, namely because there's not enough room to remove and clean an actual pre-filter. And the Durzo will allow for a higher and quieter water level inside that overflow. The return line from the water pump will also pass through this internal overflow. And other than a black box in the rear corner of the tank, the only thing you'll see is the discharge nozzle just underneath the water level's surface. And lastly, I'll cement in the barbed adapters into the tightened bulkheads, and both Condi and I will lift and carry the tank onto the stand, taking note of the two extended fittings underneath the tank.
All right, my end's down. Push. Get your finger in there. A little bit.
Traveling back down into the 310 at Coast Tropicals, Todd King points out the differences in aquarium-related plants and their preferred growing style and requirements.
At Coast Tropicals is a family-run business. This is actually my brother-in-law. He does a lot of the product development in the plant business. Him and my sister run this part of it. So he's the main guy as far as producing new products.
And tell us what the difference is between those type of plants, you know, the terrestrial, the aquatic, the bulbs, the bog.
Okay. Bog plants are basically semi-aquatic plants. They're generally grown on the shores of lakes and rivers. They can actually survive submerged for limited amounts of time, but eventually they do need to have their leaves grown out of the water. Your true aquatic plants can actually grow and live, thrive their entire lives completely submerged underwater.
And then are there terrestrial plants that are forced into becoming aquatic plants?
Yes, actually there are some, and they can actually survive for many, many months. I mean, we've had some terrestrial plants that we've tested here that have survived upwards of 9 months to almost a year before they die off. It's just a matter of what type of plant it is and initially how it was grown. If it started almost its entire life submerged, it adapts to that. Just like you have true aquatic plants that will adapt and grow with their leaves immersed versus submerged.
And then Mike had mentioned bog plants are kind of like a transitional kind of a plant.
Yes, you've got plants like Acorus or Aquafern. Again, they're bog plants that are grown near streams and rivers in the wild. They survive for many, many months during flood season, completely submerged, but eventually the waters recede and then their leaves are above the water line.
There's been a number of bulbs and things here, so plants obviously
come in a couple of different forms to you, where there's the bulb version that you sell to the customer who grows it out, and then there would be a plant that's already grown. You just need to plant it and maintain it from there?
Correct. Primarily your bulb species are like your nymphaeas, which are lilies, and they grow extremely well in aquariums, also in ponds where they're most widely used. And again, the same thing, that particular plant grows from a bulb, so during dry seasons the bulbs will actually be completely dry for many, many months at a time. When the rainy season comes again, then that bulb is then fertilized with the food that it keeps within its structure, and then it will sprout and grow again.
I will put this on film, but just so I understand myself, like brine shrimp eggs?
Similar, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a brine
It's
shrimp
able
egg.
to keep its self in suspended animation.
For many, many months. Yeah, in fact, in some cases up to a year. It all depends on that bulb and actually the amount of food that it has stored itself.
Yeah.
In fact, when we're done with this, I can show you some that have been dry for a year. They were from last pond season, which was February. We just threw them in the tank and they're starting to sprout. So,
Yeah, just like a brine shrimp egg, exactly.
What's that?
Just like a brine shrimp egg. That was a great example.
Yeah, great.
Suspended animation. Very cool. Thank you. And
You're
once
welcome.
again, your name was?
Todd.
Todd. Go ahead and just mention it so I have it
No,
recorded.
Todd King, Complete Aquatic Systems.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Don't forget your work.
Good job, Yates.
Yeah, that was good.
Cruising eastward on Ventura Boulevard through Studio City is Mark's Tropical Fish. In the 60s, he was in a band. Now he's into bowls, fish bowls.
Another super popular fish is the Siamese fighting fish, or they're called bettas. Here we have a nice selection of bettas that we get a good shipment in every week. I hand select every fish coming through here. We have everything. This one just came in. They come packed in these little plastic cups, and we switch them into bowls for display. We highly recommend that you move them to either a larger bowl or aquarium so they'll grow out to their full size. There's several different strains of bettas. We have half moon bettas, the standard tail bettas, and we have split tail bettas. We have crown tail bettas. They're all different strains, and they all last about 2 to 3 years if they're well taken care of and very easily taken care of. Bettas are also a very good starter fish for somebody that doesn't have a lot of room. Let's say they live in an apartment and they don't have much room. A small bowl or a decorative type of vase of some type is a great home for a betta, and it brings some life into the room. When you come home from work at night, you come over and you say hi to your little buddy, give him a couple of pellets, and believe it or not, we have a lot of women that really enjoy having a betta in their office and at home. It's a very inexpensive investment, and you can put a little live plant in with them. It's amazing how popular bettas have become as people are finding out how easy they are to keep and have very few requirements.
Standing on the pier at Hermosa Beach, looking back at the coastline. And just up the street is Age of Aquarium's crew, who's working on the plumbing of their 20-foot-long aquarium. Sean has now plumbed 3 suction lines, complete with union valves, and is now assembling the water pump's intake manifold.
Here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In addition to some modifications, the coral reef manufacturer is working on some final touches. But big things don't always fit into small places.
Sean. Yes. Where's the level? The level should be down below the tank.
Okay. There it is.
I know that doesn't help. That's 20 feet, but.
There you go.
So is it pretty tight in there, or are you just trying to squeeze something big inside a small area?
I eat a lot.
So this is Martine from Reformers, and he's the one that built the artificial coral structure that's in this aquarium. The process for the design and the building of the structure was that I presented Martine with a diagram of the aquarium, length and width and height. He built a mock-up of the aquarium in his shop in Riverside out of plywood, and then he formed the background out of fiberglass mold. And then he molds each individual coral. The corals are all actual molds from natural coral. He makes a mold of a natural coral, then out of silicone, and then fills that mold up with a synthetic material, that the corals you see now, and then he colors them with in various colors to attain as natural a look as possible on the structure.
And then once he had it built at his shop,
so then the procedure was, I inspected it about 3 or 4 times. We determined where there's filtration pipes that go through the structure, which I indicated where they should go, where the pipe should be, what level they should be in. And they come in about 6 different places throughout the structure. And then there's some holes in the bottom of the tank as well. And we had to make sure that the coral structure missed those holes as well. So after the structure was completed, it gets inserted into the aquarium. They had the aquarium finished except for the acrylic top. And that's so Martine could get in the aquarium and insert the structure inside it. And so Martine transported the structure in 3 different pieces, about 3 equal lengths of 6.5 feet each. So he could easily insert the structures inside the aquarium. And what he's doing now is actually filling in the cracks of where the structure was put together.
Does that sound right?
So he's filling in the cracks. Other things he's doing is he's coating it with a clear coat, which protects the color of the reef and also helps. It's a algae inhibitor, so it helps prevent algae from growing on the coral and makes it much easier to clean it off as algae does grow on it. So it's a nice slick surface, not a rough surface. It makes it super easy to clean the algae off the structure.
So whether you're looking for freshwater plants in a tube or zoophrags on a disc, maybe it's an aquarium with a customized cabinet, possibly rainbow fish or a pot of gold fish, or just a really large aquarium. These are the Fishguys, LA's Fishguys, and they always keep moving forward.